Hello, I will be discussing students' reflections on their challenges with an interview assignment and provide advice on dealing with challenges with incorporating such an assignment into coursework. This presentation will discuss students' reactions to an immigrant interview project that was included in a Black Immigrant Experiences course. The Immigrant Interview Project asked students to interview a Black immigrant about their experiences in Canada. Students were also expected to include an in-depth analysis of how aspects of the immigrant's life related to central issues, themes, and concepts covered in the course. The information in this presentation is based on written reflections that highlight what students learned from the experience of interviewing a Black immigrant as a course assignment. The reports show that students were intrigued and also nervous about the novel opportunity to interview a Black immigrant. Additionally, they felt that learning about immigrant experiences was best acquired through speaking to a real immigrant. The course through which the assignment is offered is called Black Immigrant Experiences in Canadian Cities. The course gave students opportunities to explore the settlement experiences of Black immigrants, most notably their experiences with exclusion, and the way in which they have responded to these exclusionary experiences through transnational livelihoods and the establishment of formal institutions that serve their communities. The first major assignment in the course involved a short immigrant interview project. The project involved interviewing a Black immigrant in Canada about their migration history and settlement experiences. This assignment also included an in-depth analysis of how aspects of the immigrant's life related to central issues and concepts in the course. This assignment was chosen because interviews have often been used as a methodological tool in migration research. Interviews allow scholars to integrate the voices of immigrants in academic research and bring greater visibility to the diverse and complicated nature of the migration experience. As part of this assignment, students were asked to develop an interview guide that includes a list of questions that they asked the interviewee. The interviewee had to have the following characteristics. They had to be over the age of 18. They had to be a Black immigrant. They had to have had some migration and settlement experience in Canada for at least 1 year. And this criterion ensured that individuals who were interviewed had the experiential repertoire that would yield useful information for this assignment. Students used the information from the interview to write an essay that made connections to research on Black immigrants in Canada. Students were also asked to write progress reports after completing first drafts of the assignment. The progress report is a short email that describes the joys or challenges that a student had or experienced with the assignment. Specifically, this report was treated as an informal writing activity, but it was also an opportunity for students to express concerns they had about the assignment process and the essay. This was also a good moment for students to share questions that emerged while working on the project before moving to the next step of the assignment. The progress report was an opportunity to respond to concerns that students may not have been able to verbally express midway through the course. Students presented the following reactions in their progress report. Positive responses to the interview assignment indicated that the project offered a new perspective. Specifically, one student noted that the experiences I've uncovered from a singular person are quite amazing, as I had never thought about how intricate and different others' experience could have been from mine. Additionally, this interview allowed me to truly acknowledge the difference in impacts between storytelling through social media versus storytelling with a real person. I am thankful for the new perspective. Students also noted they were also able to build new friendships with participants. In their report, one student said, "Thank you for assigning this. It has allowed me to not only learn more about the experiences of Black immigrants in Canada, but has also made me a new friend. Personally, I found this to be one of the best ways to learn about Black immigration in Canada." Another student said that the assignment also helped them to understand a different culture and grow as a person. More specifically, the student said that the assignment was an eye-opener. It showed me the differences in people's lives and cultures and how you really never know until you ask. The interview process was very personal and engaging. The things that were said were relevant to the topics and interesting. Finally, one student noted that it allowed them to grow as a person. The student said that they came from a home with two immigrant parents who have come from Poland, but it had never heard of the views of a black immigrant in regards to the struggles they had to face, as I falsely believe that the process of immigration was standard for all, regardless of race, gender, and homeland. This view is now one in which I have outgrown due to this assignment, as I am aware of the hardships which those of black descent face upon migrating to Canada. Some of the challenges that students noted included being concerned about finding appropriate candidates for the interview, interviewing candidates whose identity was different from theirs, and not having sufficient information to discuss in the paper. I will address each of these challenges in turn. With regard to finding appropriate interview candidates, some students mentioned that they had difficulty finding appropriate candidates for the interview because they did not have established relationships with black individuals in the city. As such, offering students a network of black organizations with which they can find suitable candidates for the interview seems to be an appropriate way to deal with this issue. There are many black-oriented organizations on our campus that would be willing to offer students some support with recruitment. Secondly, with regard to interviewing candidates with different or perceived oppositional racial identities, some students said they were nervous about interviewing individuals who had a different racial identity because they felt guilty about asking questions about disadvantage and discrimination that interviewees experience at the hands of those who belong to the same race as the interviewers. I didn't anticipate students experiencing this challenge, but I think it would be helpful to bring in former students of this course into the classroom as peer supporters who can share their experience with navigating these tensions, in addition to having classroom discussions to help them resolve these tensions. Finally, students also expressed that they didn't have enough topics to discuss in the paper. I found that students usually encounter this problem because the information received from the interviewee was limited, and that happens for a variety of reasons, including the inclusion of prompts in an interview setting. As such, including discussions of follow-up interviews and their importance for filling gaps in interview information seems to be key for addressing this challenge that students faced in the assignment process. Student reflections on the interview assignment suggest that the interview assignment was successful. However, student reflections also indicate that pedagogical adjustments that include discussing tensions between different racial groups in interview settings and the importance and appropriateness of follow-up interviews would be of great benefit to students.